Boom, boom, but we're actually here. We're maybe just a few minutes late, but some of us are a little slower than others. Hello, everybody, and
So,
welcome.
so what? So what are you trying to say?
Teddy Long, just like me, if somebody doesn't remind me every so often, I might forget something. And tonight, you were sitting in you.
Well, I was playing Monopoly. Monopoly is really a great game. I get into, so I forgot.
So you play Monopoly with yourself or against a computer? What, were you playing a board game or a video game?
Played a game on video.
A game on the videos. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Look here, we got somebody's already popping in here. Who is it? Steve Morris. Hey, Steve. He says, "Hey, Teddy, did you go to the roast at WrestleMania, and where can I see it?"
I didn't go to the roast. I had a chance to stop a few minutes in the Hall of Fame, and that was about it. But I don't even know where they had the roast because I was doing so many other things. I part of WrestleCon too, so I didn't get a chance to go. Man, not at
You
all.
know, Teddy, one of the things I've seen, and there's been a lot of people who were offended by things that were said at the roast. I guess maybe today we've talked about this. I think maybe even on Sports Kita, that today's audience doesn't really understand what a roast is, and a roast is you actually poke fun at somebody else and you have a good time. It's just it's put down jokes. Is basically all it is, and it's a night that for years was always an acceptable type of program. Don Rickles being one of the best guys from way back in the day. But it seems like a lot of things may have been said that were meant to be mean and not funny. And some of that we'll talk about a little bit later as well. I do want to get Curly Man in here. Curly Man, hey, Teddy, how was your WrestleMania weekend? And Teddy, how was the weekend? Anything you want to talk about from your time there?
Well, everything was great, man. WrestleCon was good. I always look forward for those events. WrestleCon and WrestleCade. Those are two big events, and it's also and it brings out a lot of guys that I had the opportunity, guys and girls that I had the opportunity to win. I hadn't seen them in a long time, and. This weekend at WrestleCon, I had a chance to see Jim Powers.
Wow.
Jim Powers was one of the first guys that I met back in WCW. Also had a chance to see Jackie Moore. She was there. So
I think we're going to see
she,
Jackie in St. Louis too, Teddy, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, she did tell me that. She's going to be in St. Louis
Yeah.
at the ICW FanFest there. So good to see Jackie Moore. I had a chance to see Hacksaw Duggan and have some fun with him while I was there. Also, got a chance to hang with Rikishi a little bit. He's doing a documentary, so we got a chance to film some stuff and get on the
Good.
documentary for him. So I had and also Dan Spivey. God, don't let me forget that. Dangerous Dan Spivey, along with Sid Vicious, who's passed on, but they were the skyscrapers. And I had the opportunity to manage them, and so it was so great to see Dan Spivey. And also, but not least, I had a chance to see my main man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he called me, wanting to get a picture, and we just were so happy. No, we still got that bond, but we always call each other Blackbird.
Yeah, and that was one thing I mentioned this on another show that had you called me up and had Stone Cold with you, that was going to be my question. I was the only question I was going to ask him is why did you say Blackbird? Why do you call Teddy Blackbird? Stone Cold, if you're watching this or hear about this, that'd be a great answer because even Teddy doesn't know why you call him Blackbird. So,
Well, that was kind of our bond.
did you get a chance to see Bron Breakker? I know you were hoping you might be able to run into him. Did you have a chance to see him?
No, no, I didn't get a chance to see him at
You
all.
know, Braun is aligned now with Seth Rollins and the wise man Paul Heyman. Teddy, my initial thought when I saw that happen, when I saw Braun Breaker become a part of the stable of Paul Heyman's, I'm not sure I like that combination. I really don't. I kind of liked him more as the way he felt to me originally was kind of like a badass baby face. You know, he had some hardcore tendencies, but at the end of the day, he was, I thought, just, a hard ass baby face.
Hey, man, he's a Steiner.
He's a well, there you go. Yeah, he's a Steiner. I mean, but do you think that he fits in the group with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman? Can you see that as something that maybe he needs, or is he better off by himself?
think he needs that. You know, he's going to learn from that. He's going to have some people there, Paul Heyman, and those guys are going to be behind him, and they're going to guide him in the right direction and not going to let him go out and make mistakes and stuff. So he needs that. He's going to learn a lot from those guys. And like I said, they didn't name him a wise man for nothing. He's certain that.
Let me ask you something. This has been on the internet for the last couple of days now, but Randy Orton was seen in a fan video commenting on the price of WrestleMania tickets after hearing that the fans he was talking to paid $30,000. Randy said, quote, "It's embarrassing to me, to be honest. So much fucking money for a seat," end quote. Teddy, did you hear a lot of people complaining about the price of stuff while you were there this weekend or last weekend?
No, not at all.
I do believe that the prices are way outrageous. And I think you're taking it out of the hands of a lot of people who are true wrestling fans that can't afford that kind of money. I couldn't take, if I had 4 kids, even if I had 2 kids, can you imagine the kind of money you would have? I mean, that's more than you would pay for a home just to go see WrestleMania as a family. That just seems ludicrous to me.
Well, they ain't looking at it like that, my man. They're looking to buy these tickets. We're going to sell them to you. And so, like I said, man, you have to also understand this, too. You may be complaining about that ticket prices, but you're going to get paid out of that same money.
Oh, yeah, true, too. All right, great weekend at WrestleCon. Crazy busy, 100%. So glad I got to see Teddy. Much love, my friends. That is, do you know who that is? Before I even tell you who that is, Teddy, can you, just by looking at that picture, do you know who that is?
I see something called a meltdown.
Okay, well, what's that tell you? Think back into the days of WWE.
I'm
going to give you a hard time. Keep going. I'm going to give you some guesses.
Okay, I got the meltdown. I don't, that doesn't strike a bell. I don't know.
This is somebody that you do know. In fact, I'm going to leave you hanging on to that for a minute. I'm going to let you keep knocking that around. He was also one of those big, tall guys that I've said in the past, I always thought should have been up against the Undertaker during those days and done more in the WWE.
Oh, Ryan Clark.
There you go. Yes, sir. You got to see him this past weekend too, I guess. Did you?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a chance to say hello to Brian. Yeah, man, he's a super great guy, man.
Yeah, he's one of the nice guys. Anytime I've ever needed to get an interview or something, he's always been available, and he's been on Road Trip After Hours. As a matter of fact, you can join us for that on the recorded programs that we have with some of the stars on our YouTube page right here. If you're watching on YouTube, if not, is at Road Trip After Hours. Teddy, Logan Paul made an offer to Stone Cold. Did you hear about this?
No.
Before WrestleMania, Logan Paul had made an offer to Stone Cold, and he said, quote, "Bro, we offered Steve $1 million to be in the Prime Bottle." Now, Teddy, I don't know if you know what that is, but the Prime Bottle is this. It's like their mascot, somebody dressed up in a costume that runs around, looks like a Prime Bottle. He said he offered Steve $1 million to be in that bottle, but he didn't do it. So instead, he ran a poor woman over with an ATV. Don't even think he considered it for a second. Imagine if he had revealed his face in the Prime Bottle and his fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. He could have done anything, which is why I think it would have worked ultimately. Maybe 1 year, end quote. I do see, I'll be honest, until he mentioned that, I didn't think much about that little costume guy that runs around the Prime Bottle. But that would be something I could see Stone Cold doing, because in the past, in the Attitude Era, he did stuff like that, didn't he?
He didn't run around with no ball, and not when he ran around, it was serious business.
Yeah.
Okay, he would chase you with that ATV, just like he did on what we're going to talk about now. But I mean, I don't know what's the big deal. Things, if your people can go back, they can remember he chased me. I had to run from that. And every time I turn around and look, it was closer and closer. And I had to keep going because I know we're on this live TV. He's going to run over me if I stop. So, you know what I mean? That was just, I think, was an accident. And you know what? Yeah, I don't see what the big deal is.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the person in the audience that ended up getting, upset because he ran into the barricade, when you watch the video, she doesn't even react until maybe a couple seconds after the impact. Like she thought, oh, maybe I should fall down, and just fell back, and it looked almost fake. I'm not going to say it was because I don't know.
Not say fake. Let's call it. It's a work.
Yeah, maybe it's a work. You're right. So, all right, let's see what we got here.
Because you never know what's going on. You never know what's happening.
No, not at all. Oh, Mr. Long, cool. Somebody just must have popped in and saw your face on here.
Kaju or somebody?
Kawhi Kaju, maybe.
Okay, all right. Well, holla, play.
Hopefully we got that right. He said he was watching some old wrestling, and this cat shows up everywhere. So I guess he's talking about you. Also, now here's somebody who's been trying to get in touch with me over and over again, doing different things. But Benjamin Yu, he says, "Hello, Mr. Long. Could you remind us again the story of how Doom became tag team champions back in the day? Thanks."
Yeah, I know Benjamin. I've known him time. Good to hear from Benjamin. The way the Doom defeated the Steiners at the pay-per-view was called Capital Comeback in Washington, D.C. And that's how they became the World Tag Team Champions that night. And that was also the night that I had this match with Paul Aaron, and I had to get my head shaved and all that, which was some idea that didn't make any sense. But anyway, don't worry, that's in the past. But that's how they beat Steiners at Capital Comeback, and that's when they became World Tag Team Champions.
And we got to step away real fast. I want to tell you a little bit about the SICW FanFest that's coming up. Teddy will actually be getting the Lifetime Achievement Award at that event. But you want to know more about it and how to get those tickets? Here you go. And we'll come right back with Ask Teddy.
SICW FanFest 3 is almost here. Meet your favorite wrestling superstars. May 16th and 17th, St. Louis. Get up close and personal with wrestling legend. SICW.org. Come on, do it right now. SICW.org. Don't wait. Make plans May 16th and 17th at the Hilton St. Louis Airport. SICW FanFest 3.
Letters, oh we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy!
Mailman, mail today.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay, hey, if you want to be a part of this, Teddy will take questions right here. We got some that came in by mail or through social media, and you can also join us in live with your questions. All you have to do is leave them in the comment section. We'll throw them up, and Teddy will answer anything and everything. You may not like what he says, but he'll answer it, I promise. All right, Teddy, this comes from Barbara asking, Teddy, what was your reaction to, oh yeah, you and I actually mentioned this ourselves, I want to say just a couple of days ago. I forgot about this. What was your reaction to Triple H kissing Shawn Michaels at the Hall of Fame?
Well, I really didn't think nothing of it. These guys have been real good friends, and they've been friends for many, many years. And in the day when I was, working, I always heard that when I came in, Shawn Michaels was one of the guys that kind of took him in under their wing and helped him out. Also heard that Terry Taylor guy that was close and helped Hunter out, and also Flair was another person that. Those three guys were the guys that I kind of under their wing and took care of him and helped him out. So I think that just him and Shawn that just have had a great bond for years. I mean, I've been right there with him with DX and all that, and they're just real good friends. And so I don't think people should take things the wrong way because a man kissing man and and then go to thinking something else. I mean, to me, that's real friendship right there. You know what I mean? That's that they've been together.
Teddy.
They've been together, man.
Look, Teddy, I know we're friends, but I ain't ever going to kiss you on the mouth. I'm sorry.
Well, it's a lot of people probably wouldn't do it either. I wouldn't kiss somebody. Well, I don't know. Just have to see what that person really did for me in my life. But like I said, I'm pretty sure a lot of people wouldn't do it. But I don't think there's nothing about that. I think there's just they looking at what they came from and where they at now.
I even think that maybe they were just doing that to create a stir. They just did that for the heck of it. Because I also see Triple H as he's walking away, almost kind of cracking a half smile, like he knew what he just did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they all, they never quit working.
No, never.
Never stop working.
All right, Zach Zmiz Burton. Hey, Zach, what was your favorite part of WrestleMania?
I think seeing Jey Uso win the title, I think that was my favorite part.
What was your worst part, Teddy? Do you have one that you really were disappointed in during WrestleMania? I know you can't say a whole lot, but you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But
no, I mean, if I had something that was bad, I would say it. I didn't get a chance to watch it like that. I was watching bits and pieces.
The one thing, and I'm trying to make sure I'm not going to step on someone's questions here, so give me just a second to make sure I'm not going to give anybody a hard time on their question here, and I don't. Let me ask you about Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. That match, Teddy, I was looking forward to this match. I wanted to see the fire that they had in their promos come alive in the ring. I didn't feel like we got that. I don't know who's setting these matches up, for the girls, or if they're doing it themselves, but there are times when it feels like Charlotte Flair may have been sandbagging a little bit during her match. It just didn't come off well. In fact, if I had to pick a match, one of the matches that I think were weak from WrestleMania weekend, that would have been one of them. And it disappointed the hell out of me.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to see that one at all because, like I said, I was there, but I'm trying to get home too. So I was trying to get a flight out and stuff. So I've seen this in bits and pieces, but I didn't get a chance to watch that one at all.
That was unfortunate. What else we got here? We have Frank from the gas station. Logan wants Mac on the Prime bottle for $15. I'd go for a little bit more than that, but not much. What else we got here? Plot Twist Jones. Weird. I don't kiss my friend of 20 plus years. But I think you're right, Teddy. There is a difference, and especially when we grew up. Look, men didn't even hardly hug when I was a kid. I mean, that was strange. And then you start seeing men kind of hugging a little bit and then patting each other on the backs. There's always a cool hug that men had. But times have changed so much that I just don't know what is acceptable and not acceptable anymore. But again, I'm not going to kiss you. So,
well, you're looking at two guys that came up with the struggle. Now, both of them are millionaires,
making all kinds of money. Let's see, Wrestle UK. Hey guys, catch you every week here in the UK. What are your honest opinions? And I think we just did this of WrestleMania this year. Overall, Teddy, what do you? Let's just do. I know you're going to hate this, but on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, where do you put WrestleMania this year?
Number 9.
Really, at number 9?
I'm missing a little bit of a few things, nothing major. You know what I mean? There's some little minor things that could have been done better. But you learn from. You learn from that. So now you know not to make that mistake no more. So, and all to me, I think that show was out of 9.
And see, I look at it. Saturday's show was it wasn't that good at all. Sunday's show was better. If you had to pick one of the 2 nights, Sunday night was a much better show. But in the end, I'd give it maybe a 5.5 or a 6, Teddy. It just didn't. But again.
But see, it's because you and I, we understand, we know. There's so many people that don't know.
But now, when you go online, though, and you start reading some of the comments, there are a lot of people who thought this was a very weak WrestleMania. And they were also surprised by the one thing I do want to talk about. That is The Rock. The Rock did not show up at WrestleMania. I can't tell you how many people I know, Teddy, that really expected to see him on WrestleMania and were disappointed that they didn't. And then when they didn't hear from him at WrestleMania, he shows up and makes an excuse on the Pat McAfee show for why he wasn't there. That made zero sense in the storyline. It's a big mess as far as I'm concerned. What were your thoughts on everything that went down?
Well, it ain't about this. Okay.
Well, see, but that's just it. He created the storyline of I'm going to take your soul, or give me your soul.
Well, like I said, it's not over. You know, did one little deal that WrestleMania where he doesn't show, you know what I mean? But you got SummerSlam coming up. And I think, you know, if you're thinking like I would be thinking, if just as strong went into WrestleMania, you got to be double strong now to go into SummerSlam. You got to follow that. So I think to maybe have Ruck save him to bring him in for SummerSlam to make the big scene there would be the thing to do.
All right, let's see. We have Plot Twist Jones again saying, "I'm not going to kiss not kissing my mother or father that way. Definitely for the laughs." Yeah, I think it's probably what it was too. Michael Steele popping in saying, "Yeet."
Yeah, what do you say there, Michael?
Let's see. Zach in here again. Dom winning was amazing. I did like seeing Dom win. I did not expect that. Teddy, was that something you saw coming? Because I really didn't. He was a last minute replacement in a match that I just didn't think, that he'd be the one going over.
That's exactly how they should do it, where you don't know.
Yep. All right, let's see what we got here. Creatively, I'm sorry. I don't think it was good. Raw was better. I agree with that. Now, that's something I will say. A lot more surprises and energy felt like it was on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania than I got on WrestleMania weekend. That's a good point, Jones. Really good point. Let's see what else we got here. Curly Man. Hey, Mac, I know this is Ask Teddy, but wanted to ask you a question. Okay. Where can we see any of your past matches on YouTube? You actually can find them on the same channel you'll find Road Trip After Hours. There's a few of my matches there. I don't post many of them because it's independent wrestling.
They're horrible.
They're not horrible. But actually, there's some in there. There's some cage matches. I did more of the hardcore style kind of things, cage matches, TLC matches, those kind of things. But go by, you'll find some of that stuff in the library here.
And that one, I wanted to touch on that too. Yeah, Atlanta jokes aside, Mac's a hell of a worker. That's how you mentioned. I started going to the indies and stuff, and that's where I started seeing Mac, and I started seeing him work good. And that's when I went up to him. I'm like, that had the WWE or anybody in those guys ever approach you or something? But Mac's a hell of a worker. He's certainly good in the ring.
I appreciate that, Teddy. Yeah, unfortunately I suffered a neck injury that took me out of wrestling for 10 years, and that pretty much stopped my chances of ever doing anything like that. That's the
Well, stay off your knees.
Just stay off my knees. Let's see here. Teddy, anything will come out of your mouth, won't it? Andre the Manlet. Weird. It finished 20 minutes early. I was thinking The Rock was coming out, and then it ended. I did too, Andre. Teddy, I don't know if you got to see that part of it, but when we got to the end of WrestleMania and it was all over with, I kept thinking, okay, I'm waiting for The Rock, waiting for The Rock. I even saw the credits, waiting for The Rock. He never showed up. And at that point, I was just like, okay, this has been piss poor. It really took me at the end of the night, took away from what I'm used to getting at WrestleMania. I don't think there was ever a time, and you can comment down below and tell us, but I don't think there was ever a time that Vince McMahon ended WrestleMania on the champ not winning, on the babyface not going over, and everybody going home feeling good. Wasn't that usually the case for WrestleMania, Teddy?
Well, yeah, but this wasn't WrestleMania. It was another pay-per-view, where Vince blew his quads out there, and Batista and trying to remember where they both come over at the same time, and we had to go along with that, and, get into another one.
I'm sorry, I was just waving at Maggie. She was in here saying, hello, everyone.
Hello, Maggie. And listen, let me correct y'all. When Mac's on his knees, it's with his wife. Okay, let me get that straight out.
He didn't mean that, honey. She's right on the other side of her going, what?
Good. Very good.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, it is Thursday night.
You share your stories. We want to hear stuff.
No, you don't want to hear that.
We want to hear, like you got any old road stories. Well, we want to know if y'all got any old bedroom stories.
Hopefully my grandson's not watching. All right, let's see. Plot Twist Jones in here again. He said, I used to be a huge Rock fan, but I honestly don't need or want to see him again, especially if he's just throwing a wrench into what's going on.
Well, good
It
point.
is a
Good
very good
point.
point. And there are a lot of people who feel that way. And I know that not everyone feels that way. Some people loved WrestleMania and thought the ending was perfectly, fine. It's just like ice cream. We all have different flavors that we like, and some like chocolate, some don't. All right, so let's see what else we got here. I do want to bring up your girl, Nia Jax. Teddy, she was at this roast, and she was making some comments. I think a lot of it was just pure jokes, but she did get on the kind of a serious side, and it felt like she was taking some jabs at Charlotte Flair. She made fun of her failed marriages, and she even kind of referenced, well, I don't want to get into some of the stuff, but anyhow, there seemed to be some real heat between Nia Jax and not between Nia Jax, but between Charlotte Flair and the other girls backstage. Would you find that surprising? Because I don't. I think that would happen with anybody. If it's not Charlotte Flair, it would be somebody else.
I mean, I don't really know. I don't understand none of it. Like like I said, I don't keep up with the divas. I watch Nia and and her stuff, but like I said, I don't watch Charlotte Flair that much, so I really don't even know her. So I don't even know what's it really all about. I really don't.
I wonder too, Teddy. I often say that kayfabe is dead, although I do believe that kayfabe can be brought back to life and used if it's used properly. And there are some cases during WrestleMania weekend, up until the time that we're on the air right now, that I feel like maybe we're getting worked a little bit in certain places, but I'm okay with that. I like to be surprised. If wrestling's not surprising, it's not really entertaining. That's one thing people love about wrestling. They like the surprises. They don't want to know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. They want to be surprised by that. Would you agree with that, Teddy?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not going to get away from old school. The only thing's going to happen, you're going to dress a little bit, but it's always going to be there. So, like I said, to deal with the change of times now and the way things are going, and we just got to, get ready for that. Get ready for the change because we see so much stuff, and I know you do too, in wrestling matches that would have never happened 10 years ago. I mean, that wouldn't even dream of
one of the worst things, and I get asked this all the time. What's my biggest pet peeve in wrestling? In today's wrestling, it's the non-finishers. There is no finisher anymore because people kick out and pop out of finishers all the time. You've killed what was, people could see coming. Your whoever the wrestler may be builds to the moment to deliver that finish. And that's part of the story and the excitement as they get closer to it. And when you don't have a real finisher and people are kicking out of everything left and right, it takes away from what used to be old school, easy storytelling.
Well, it's old school, easy,
there you go. Let me ask you one more thing. Cisco and Frisco asked.
I'm begging you.
I know. I'm jumping all over myself now. Should WrestleMania go back to a one-night event? Good question too.
Well, I don't. If they're doing good with 2 nights, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So if for them, then I would continue to go with that. But I think they're gonna have just a little. They're gonna need a little bit more showman. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're gonna have to pep it up a little bit if they're gonna go to 2 nights. They're gonna have to involve some entertainment involved. Then along with the ring too.
I do believe that WrestleMania this year could have been much better than it was had they only been there for one night. Because Teddy, and what you're trying to say too is you don't have enough super talent to fill 2 nights of WrestleMania, but you did have the talent to pull off one night of WrestleMania and make it extra special. So I agree with you. I don't think we're in the era where we were in the Attitude Era where they had a lot of stars. Nowadays, we're still building them.
Well, that second night, I would, and if it had been me on the second night, that's where I would have put Travis Scott. I wouldn't even had him involved in the ring in no match. Maybe I'd have had him backstage involved in a promo with Cody or something like that. But to be in the ring, I wouldn't have done that. But I wouldn't perform the second night. See, that takes care of that second night. That concert is going to go, maybe an hour. That's about it. And then it goes back to wrestling. But that would be something different.
I got so tired of hearing the theme song for WrestleMania. By the time it was over with, they took a song that I thought was good in the beginning, and I hate it now. hate it. It's just like,
Yeah.
God, that's all I hear. Fiend, 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 fiend. And just makes you want to throw something at the TV. All right, Teddy, let's
Yeah.
pick a question. Anybody in particular you'd like to hand the T-shirt to this week for the best question?
I'm gonna hand it to the guy that didn't have a question for me. He had a question for you. I'm gonna send him that
Well, let's
T-shirt.
see. That's Curly Man. So Curly Man, get in contact with me. Send me your email and contact info, and I'll be in touch, and we'll get that shirt right out to you. Teddy, I've enjoyed this. We do this every Thursday night, 7:00 live Eastern Standard Time, and we appreciate everybody who pops in the room and joins us, and especially when it comes to leaving us questions and being a part of our show. Teddy, anything coming up for you before we get out of here?
I don't know the name of the event, but I'm better.
I'm gonna be where?
I'm Friday and Saturday. I'm going to be in Indianapolis, Indiana at some kind of Comic-Con. I don't know, but I know everybody in Indianapolis. They know what I'm talking about. But that's where I'm going to be Friday and Saturday this weekend. Indianapolis,
If
Indiana.
you're in Indianapolis, you don't know where the hell he's going to be, do you? Neither does Teddy.
Well, maybe somebody ought to meet me at the airport and take me where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, careful, you don't know who might pick you up at the airport, Teddy.
No, I'm not getting in. No.
All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you again 7:00 next week, right here for Road Trip After Hours. I'm Mac Davis, and that is WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long. See you next week.
Holla, holla, player.
Let's do this.